We are back with a Fox News alert. NATO members set to gather to announce a joint declaration of support for Ukraine ahead of President Biden's sit-down with Volodymyr Zelensky. The high-stakes meeting comes after Joe Biden skipped the NATO dinner last night, blaming his quote-unquote packed schedule, deciding to skip out on the dinner last night, even though he just spent a weekend at the beach.
A White House official says Biden has 4 full days of official business and is preparing for a big speech tomorrow, in addition to another day at the summit. Fox News contributor Joe Concha joins us now. So the White House, Joe, is saying that the president is in work mode, not party mode, and he is definitely not sleepy, Joe.
Fascinating. A 4-day work week. Could you imagine that, Carly, when you were working up until you were 9 months pregnant, right. 5 to 7 days a week, suddenly saying, boy, 4 straight days, I don't think we can make this dinner anymore. And the dinner is part of the work, by the way, because these are with NATO leaders. These are with people where you could have candid conversations outside of your typical settings and can get maybe some things done. But when you see these eye-popping polls, Todd and Carly, polls that show 7 in 10 Americans do not want to see a sequel to President Biden's first act. They don't want him to seek re-election in 2024. Even a majority of Democrats are not comfortable with this president in office potentially until age 86. And the number one reason given every time is he's just too damn old. And that's not to say 80 is old. The problem is he's not simply aging well. And when you skip dinners with world leaders, that screams to the world that this man is just too tired and can't handle a full work week anymore. And that's fine if you're a golf starter at the local golf course, but this is the commander-in-chief and leader of the free world, and he may have to work a little bit sometimes. And instead, he always needs an extended weekend in Delaware to recover from barely working in the first place. So this is a perception and the optics that's very real and will be a big issue in the 2024 election, Todd.
If he gets there, because carefully crafted Joe Biden narratives that helped him win 2020 leading to 2024 now seem to be falling apart. Let's take a look back.
Okay.
I miss you too, Angel. Okay, I'm heading home now. I'll call you when I get back to Delaware. I love you, baby. Bye-bye. She's an incredible kid.
Mr. President, what did you order?
Chocolate chip. Oh, yeah. I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot.
Okay, so that's the narrative, but then there are these headlines in the New York Times, no less. This isn't Breitbart. This is the New York Times saying it's 7 grandkids, Mr. President. Obviously a reference to the fact that he only references 6 grandkids, ignoring Navy there in Arkansas. Axios also reporting that Biden regularly curses at White House staff, calling him, quote, an old geller. Do you think this is part of a Democrat machine efforts to, I don't know, test the waters on replacing Joe Biden heading into 2024?
It is interesting that these stories came out in succession. Now, the one about the 7th grandchild, that was an opinion piece by Maureen Dowd, but she's probably their most read writer in the opinion section. So it's interesting that comes out. The Axios story comes out with these unnamed sources talking about all the F-bombs that Joe Biden's throwing around. Again, he said he would promise, I promise you, I will fire you on the spot if you disrespect or talk down to somebody. So I guess Mr. Biden will be firing himself any day now. And look, you got to wonder at this point how many Democrats in powerful places like those media outlets that you just talked about do not want, like we just talked about, him to seek a second term and rather have, say, a Gavin Newsom at the top of the ticket instead. Certainly not Kamala Harris, but it seems that Gavin Newsom is already campaigning without actually announcing. And then you see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. at 20% in polling, Marianne Williamson at 10% in polling. So there's a lot of things going on right now where I am not buying the fact that we are headed towards a Biden-Trump inevitable rematch. A lot could happen between now and then, and it seems like there's a nudging going on saying, you know what, Mr. President, maybe you did your job, you got rid of Trump, and now it's time to head to that golf course.
We shall see. Only time will tell. Joe, thank you for joining us. Got to leave it there. Fox and Friends starts right now.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.